Hello, this is Spilling the Loyalty. Spilling the Loyalty is a Digitas podcast. I'm co-host Brad Blackmon, executive client lead at Digitas.
And I'm Melissa Berger, Chief Solutions Officer for Digitas. Joining us today is a very special guest that we're very excited for, Ken Blom from BuzzFeed. Welcome, Ken.
Hi there. Great to be here.
Yes.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, okay, let's start with this. Where the hell has this year gone?
I don't know. Well, actually, I feel like it's October, November, but it's really the beginning of the year.
Or it hasn't started.
Oh, yes,
We're
exactly. That's what you
waiting.
were saying.
Yeah, it's everyone's kind of had the same feeling, and we're just going to reiterate it because it's been crazy so far. I think I've spent like 5 days at home so far this year, so lots of
Poor
travel.
Jake.
Poor Jake. Sorry, honey, I love you. But let's talk about this. Like, what's been going on? Like, what's the most exciting thing that each of us have had going on so far this year? Brad, you first.
I would say we're launching a client project I'm very excited about. I can't talk about. And my son came home from the UK last week and we had a good time with him. So like right now, and we had a great time at CES.
We did.
And we're planning great things for the summer. So we're excited about that.
Very much so.
So I'm jazzed about this year. I just think I'm tired right now.
And that's fair. But the good news is the thing you can't talk about yet, we will be able to talk about
Watch
eventually.
the space in June.
We can't wait.
Yes.
We'll probably do a podcast about it.
And we will in June.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay, so Ken, most exciting thing so far this year for you?
I was going to say CES.
Oh, because you saw us? No, I'm just kidding.
Usually a bold lie. No.
Yeah.
I thought, what if I lied on the loyalty?
I know.
Right? I do think CES was crazy because I mean, I'm from LA. The fires were going on. The thing that I found interesting about CES was there was a humanizing aspect to it. Like, not that the conference stopped. We still had meetings, but we all thought about each other outside of this advertising, doing deals. So that was unexpectedly like a tough moment, but then kind of exciting.
Yeah, redeeming.
And scary.
Yeah.
Like really scary. We had team members who we were filming with on things and didn't know if they had a house or electricity or like all the things. So yeah.
It just made the conference circuit a little bit like, oh, we all have lives.
Care
Real
about
things.
people.
Care about each, exactly.
And real things that technology can't always solve.
Exactly.
Right.
Melissa, you.
Yeah. So, you know, again, I did enjoy CES as usual. And I, to your point, that was really a great point of everyone kind of coming together and supporting each other. But, you know, my wedding is very soon, which I can't believe, 2 months away.
I know. I'm so excited.
Me too. But, you know, it's like a whole other job, right? It's like a side hustle that will end at some point. But it's been exciting and great and, you know, all the positive things. But it's definitely a lot of details. So thankful to my wedding planner for all your help. Love you.
And we can't wait to celebrate you.
Yay! It'll be so amazing.
You and Jake.
Yes, me and
There you
Jake.
go.
So anyway.
Well, Ken, thank you so much for being here with us today. You take time out of your day to be with us. We appreciate that. We don't take that for granted. We are huge fans of BuzzFeed. Huge fans. Can you start by walking us through your role, what you do at BuzzFeed, and how you got there? Yes. I think that sometimes our audience doesn't know, like, or would like to hear your journey. Yep. So I think your role and how you got there.
Yeah, so I am Chief Business Officer, BuzzFeed Inc. So, and then to remind everyone, BuzzFeed Inc., Tasty, HuffPost, BuzzFeed, 100 million uniques. You know, and we'll talk about Island and Studio a little bit later. But I've been there 13 years.
Wow.
So I've forgotten how I got here.
Yeah. You don't hear people being places. I mean, you do in our world a little bit within Digitas, but
yeah, it was like my father.
For you to be there, wow.
A long time.
It's amazing.
But prior to BuzzFeed and coming over from BuzzFeed, you know, 13 years ago, smaller website, I was over IPG, Reprise Media Brands, buying paid search.
Know them well.
Early days Facebook ads before they were in the feed on the right rail. The sort of like trying to figure out, is this going to work? Are they ever going to let us have an ad in the feed, right?
Oh my gosh.
And here we are.
Yep.
There's ads everywhere.
Everywhere.
Wow.
And they work.
Yes, they do.
For now.
Yes.
And so how did you get into this chief business officer role? And what does that really include? Because I think
Yeah.
for a lot of
Very
people, that
interesting.
could be a few different ways. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's mysterious. We want it to be that.
Perfect,
right?
okay.
That's all good roles. All good roles and titles are like that. So Chief Business Officer, everything revenue monetization related.
Got
so
it.
yes, advertising sales, but also, advertising sales are changing and dynamic. And does it look more like affiliate or paid affiliate, or does it look more like partnerships where there's more of a BD conversation happening rather than just programmatic and media, right? So I like to break down our business largely as, yes, there's our programmatic and media business, and we have pre-roll and display and custom display and a lot of fun stuff. Affiliate, we're a very large partner. We do over 600 million in GMV. And then the last part, which you sort of know us for in the early stages of BuzzFeed, is branded content.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, obviously changing. It's not just video. It's not just short form. It's creators. Like, it could be a lot of different things. And that kind of is where the partnership lens seeps in.
Love that. And do you, in that role, to look for like new revenue streams for BuzzFeed as well, like for growth in new areas? Because I know we're going to talk about a new area in a minute.
Yeah.
Are you also over that and kind of looking through what's next for BuzzFeed?
Yeah, we're constantly looking. I think BuzzFeed overall, from a B2C perspective, is always looking at like, well, how is consumer behavior changing, and therefore how do we need to change the type of media that we're making?
Love
right?
that.
Maybe that's AI. Maybe it's how people are going to be getting their information, right? On the business side, I'm kind of right behind saying, okay, well, if information gathering is changing or curation is changing, how do we monetize? How do we partner? How do we make money off that?
Yep. Very cool.
Well, and interestingly enough, Ken and I were on a call together last week again because we're talking about some other partnership opportunities. So, Digitas, as we think about network experiences, obviously some of the media buys and ad revenue investments very clear, but we talked about other ways, some of the other interesting things that BuzzFeed's doing that we can join in on or can help us think more broadly for our clients about other parts of their business, not just media, which is really interesting. So we love that conversation. We had a lot of great ideas. So I'm excited for what else we can do with the BuzzFeed
Excited for
team.
the follow-ups as always.
Me too. You guys have been going through like a lot of changes and evolution in a really positive way, but a lot of new recent announcements around social, around documentaries. So I'd love if you don't mind to talk a little bit about some of the new things that are coming.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, the core brands, BuzzFeed, Tasty, HuffPost. I think the things we don't talk about as much, studio, which you had mentioned, we do a lot of film and documentary, but also opening that up to YouTube and treating YouTube truly as that studio relationship.
Oh yeah,
as
that's
well.
cool.
Greenlighting shows, creators, etc.
Yeah.
And then the other exciting announcement, which we had released a few weeks ago, was BuzzFeed Island or BF Island, which you said we have a lot of positive news and it's about joy and it's coming from a dark place that we're all maybe living in and feeling
Just overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed or increasingly dissatisfied maybe
yeah.
with social, and I have a 2-year-old at home, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm going to delete the app. I've deleted the apps as an experiment, and this feels better. And there's also different ways to get information.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I love the premise of it. I read a couple of the quotes that Lizzie shared, and I thought just around a lot of social platforms have abandoned their responsibility to content and culture and handing over control to algorithms and literally optimizing just for engagement. So the result is a digital world dominated by snarf, content that thrives on stakes, novelty, anger, retention, fear. I mean, that is a statement. And after I was reading a lot of the articles around this, I love that the future is around joy, sparking, ideas and creativity and connection, because I do think a lot of that is missing from when people are, you lay in your bed at night and you want to distract yourself. The last thing I want to do at this point is go on some of the other social platforms.
You're doom scrolling.
Exactly.
Feeling like
And then you can't
feeling like doom
sleep,
scrolling.
and then you have
Yeah.
anxiety and all the things.
Yeah.
Joy
certainly
is back.
It's not helping the
back.
mental health of our community, that's for sure.
joy is back.
Joy is back.
Hopefully it's for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's dig into our key topic today.
Yes.
Right? So building trust, the currency of loyalty is our total theme. We would love to hear your POV on trust being a critical currency in the loyalty space.
Yeah, so I think, and also answering loyalty for publishers, right?
Oh, like that.
So I I do think, obviously, like it says, loyalty is about gaining trust.
Yep.
It's about being predictable, having expectation lines with an audience. All of those things are important. But I was also joking, there's like love languages to loyalty for the publisher, right?
Oh, I like that.
You follow us, one of our newsletters, that's a token of your loyalty. You know, maybe the highest form is you're signing up for our membership programs that we have, right? But also there's also the sort of loyalty of how do you choose which publisher based on a search result, based on being in your feed, that you're going to click through on this content. And one, the content's got to deliver, but two, if you've been to the site before, you expect it to deliver. And
100%.
you know, the first thing you do after you read the headline is kind of go, oh, is this from a site that I like?
Yeah.
Or a site that has too many ads and I'm not going to like? I've been there before, right? Like, so all of the experience pieces about, you know, beyond the content that we've created, but we at BuzzFeed and HuffPost and for Tasty, we've always thought about where does the content physically live and how does the distribution also draw you in, and how do you sort of match that when you're on the O&O?
Okay. Well, and I think it's interesting because when Brad and I talk about loyalty, and on one of the first episodes, we talked about kind of big L versus little L.
Yeah.
Little L is truly those like actual programs. Like it's the mechanics behind it. You're getting rewarded for doing X, Y, or Z, which we love that that's evolved beyond just like buying X gets you Y. Then there's the big L. How do we get someone to choose your product, service, experience, platform over any other? And so obviously there's membership, there's opportunities there. But I think like broadly, to me, BuzzFeed, Tasty, a lot of the products you have really fit into that. I love the content I get there. I'm going to go back because I know I'm always going to find something that's interesting, relevant, et cetera. And so I think that's a huge part of like the authenticity that comes with the BuzzFeed. When I think BuzzFeed, I've always thought like fun, humorous, authentic.
Yeah, me too.
Always the key
sure.
words. And you can't say that about everyone else.
No.
And so I think like, how do you guys try to keep that as a part of everything you do and anything new you launch? It's not easy.
Right, and I think we've always approached things from more of a social science, right? So, you know, one part there's the creativity, and is that delivering? The other part is, well, what are the metrics that we care about? Early days, this started with right rail Facebook ads, but early days for BuzzFeed, we focused more on the metric of the share versus the page view, right? And that share meant make more content that is driving that, which at the time, positive content shared more. Things have changed. It takes guts to share something these days, right?
Based on the feedback you're going to receive.
Exactly. Yeah, like it just like, I even think about like, oh, I really want to share this, but I don't have the guts to do it, right? So people share less. Or what really happens, you share in your one-on-one chat, your WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
So that metric, I think this is one of the other points, loyalty changes and shifts, and it's dynamic.
100%.
So that metric meant so much many years ago. Today, still really important, because if they do share, that's a high signal of intent.
Yeah.
That said, it changes. So you can't just, you have to like change with the behavior, right? And so now we're looking at things like purchases. Did you see a piece of content and physically buy a product?
Yep.
Oh.
We're looking at time on site, which, you know, we're using AI as a means to generate more interesting sort of game-like experiences where the consumer can create the content, and you're seeing people spend 4 minutes of time on a page, right? And so those are things that are different signals that allow us to kind of keep moving the goalpost. Because if you just stuck with the page view, you would write content that drove clicks. If you stuck with the share, you'd write content, right? But you have to keep going where sort of the behavior is going to.
I love that. And I think you're right. Loyalty means something different to different people. And it's almost what you were just talking about is a little bit of a different twist on like lifetime value, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like you're trying to create an experience that, again, you're not, I love that you're saying like, we're not just going to actually optimize to any one thing. We're trying to think about that full experience, which a lot of brands need to also consider, right? You might have the best product in the world, but your website sucks, right? We talk about this all the time. Like, you know, we can create the best media campaigns in the world, but if we take customers there and it's a bad experience, it doesn't matter how great the media was.
And that's what's interesting about the brand side of it, is that the feedback loops, depending on the product or depending on the sales cycle, they take a really long time. And for publishers, and we always felt this way versus TV or other things, the feedback loop is really short. You learn
really
pretty quickly, did this work, right? And I think for a brand to be selling whatever product it might be, or driving people to their website, which typically is not like a highly trafficked website, it's challenging because you don't get the feedback.
Yeah. I think that's a huge part of this. And I know we talked a little bit about kind of like content storytelling, the importance of that. One, for kind of like the studio offering, frankly, for BF Island, a lot of your products as well. So, you know, when you think about kind of loyalty, how much are you guys, as you're thinking about new content you're creating and all the different partners, like, is there anything specific you're sharing with them to try to hit on a mark? Or is it just really around you guys making sure that every move you make, you're thinking through the full experience of BuzzFeed?
Yeah, I mean, I think we let editorial lead the way in a lot of respects. But, you know, that's also sort of understanding, like, what is the mood and shift and what's happening on the internet, which is as an agency or as a publisher.
Since January 1st.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
It's our challenge to sort of, you know, hey, we could put this out there right now, but is that what we want to say? And I think that's part of the piece for BuzzFeed, is if a brand knows what they want to say, it's easier for us to say, here's how you can say it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think over the years, as it's been harder to know what to say, you know, there's more of a consulting vibe, and that's something that we also offer.
Yeah.
That.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Ken, one last question before we wrap up. And again, thank you for your time. Based on the success of BuzzFeed and beyond the things that we've just talked about, because I think these are some awesome things, how do you keep fans coming back for more?
Yeah, I think Island is a good sort of example.
Can't wait. This is awesome.
of us setting out to build sort of our own platform where the end-to-end, the communication, where you're sharing, the communities you're connecting with, could be more owned by us, right? Mm-hmm. So I think previous days or years, it was the community we built via TastyTEA on Meta, Instagram, right? Now there's also a strong community within the app and the membership program, right? That we have with TastyTEA. So there's taking things that we've learned from that people do want to connect, and sort of bringing together that experience, but within our own walls.
Yeah.
Really exciting thing.
Awesome.
No, we can't wait for the launch.
Watch this space.
I know, so much exciting news. I mean, I love
theme parties are going to be great.
You what?
Yeah, the theme parties.
Oh,
the island theme parties.
Absolutely. I know. BF Island. I was like, oh, is this where we send all our old boyfriends? BuzzFeed Island. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Or Best Friend Island.
Best Friend Island.
Best Friend Island. I like that better.
Take all our best friends there. I mean, Brad did just say, like, hey, Bahamas. I'm like, let's go to the Bahamas.
Go to the Bahamas? Done.
But no, ultimately, I love the premise of BF Island. Really thinking about the positivity. I think everyone needs it right now. So we appreciate that BuzzFeed is really kind of squarely in that space and bringing joy and incredible engaging content. So thank you.
Very fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Appreciate
you have an
it.
awesome role and you work for an awesome brand. So.
Yeah, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's been great.